Working in terms of savings, this is Eskom, of course, continues to struggle financially and reputationally and has asked for more substantial hikes in the price of electricity. To discuss, we're joined by Dominic Wills, the CEO of SOLA Future Energy. He's live for us from Sea Point. Mr. Wills, thank you. Please look at the camera and maybe you can tell me, you've got examples of businesses that have tried to extricate themselves from Eskom. And how's it going? I see things like a Gateway, Langeberg Mall, etc.
Yes, so what we've seen over the last 10 years is that with the steepening electricity prices, the behavior of the actual consumer has really changed, and people have realized that they've got opportunities and they've got options not to just keep paying the same rates for Eskom electricity every single year, but rather to actually change the way they use electricity and in some cases produce their own electricity. And particularly over the last 5 years, a lot of industrial and commercial users of energy have decided to invest in technology that actually produces energy for their own needs. And the easiest way to do that, and certainly one of the most profitable ways to do that, is to actually invest into their own solar panels and in some cases also battery solutions. And that way reduce the amount of energy that they're buying from Eskom and buying from the grid and saving money really.
So those sort of solar panels you see in parking lots and things, that's what you deal with?
Yeah, so if you look at, I mean, South Africa has a huge amount of retail roof space, for example. A lot of our shopping malls, I mean, we have 1,200 shopping malls in South Africa and huge areas of roof space. And the amount of energy that lands on that roof every single day could be harvested. And once that energy is harvested, it can be converted into electricity, and that can actually be fed into the building. And so an electricity bill that used to be R1 million a month, once this whole thing is installed, it can then be 600,000 Rand a month. And that saving causes a payback on the technology. And the payback has gone from, the beginning 7-8 years down to, in some cases, under 3 and close to 2 years.
So these shopping malls are really saving because, the perception was a few years ago that as an individual, as a household, as a company, if you wanted to really go green, it was going to cost you a lot initially.
Absolutely. And what we've seen around the world is that there's just been an enormous scale of production of solar panels in particular. Last year, for example, 76 gigawatts of solar panels were produced, largely in China, actually. And if you look at what that is, I mean, South Africa's peak energy power is about 35 gigawatts. So it's more than double what we actually use in terms of capacity. And that was produced in 1 year and installed. So that huge scale has brought really big reductions in cost. Yeah. And the costs have just keep falling lower and lower and lower. I think there's no economist in the world who's predicted how quickly the cost of solar would actually come down. And that's largely been driven by manufacturing scale. So it doesn't cost you a lot of money anymore to do that. And in fact, in the case of the property companies that are investing into these solar panels, this is probably the most lucrative investment they make out of any of their portfolios for the year.
Well, can you quantify it? How much is one of the best companies using this effectively saving?
Yeah, so I think if you look at it in terms of a long-term investment, solar installation typically lasts, they actually guarantee lasts 25 years on the solar panels. So it's a very long-term kind of investment. And the typical returns that we see are in the region of 25 to 30%. If you look at essentially the return on the capital, and the return is really once you spent the money, all the energy that you saved, and the price of that energy, that's essentially how you get the return. And a typical property fund, if you're doing 10, 12%, you're doing quite well in terms of a yield on an asset like a building. Whereas on a solar asset, we've seen some projects get as high as 30% and sometimes even higher than that. And as Eskom sort of continues to struggle, they keep asking for these huge tariff increases. And every time they get an 8, 15, 20% tariff increase, it just makes the picture look even better for people on the other side of the meter to invest in their own technology, and it makes the returns look even better. And it does play into this whole sort of vicious circle that Eskom is in at the moment, where the the higher that they make their tariffs, thinking that that'll sort of help their business, actually the higher the tariffs are, the more attractive it means. It makes it for people to invest in technology, and essentially the less energy they buy from Eskom. And so as Eskom's product becomes more expensive, it becomes less desirable, which kind of makes it even more expensive again.
And the less revenue
Eskom debt cycle that Eskom finds itself in now.
I was going to say the less revenue Eskom has, the less sustainable it also becomes in the long term. We have to leave it there, but thank you very much. Dominic Wills from SOLA Future Energy, and the future certainly bright for companies like that dealing with solar energy, saying the costs are coming down. Thank you for being with us.